this is the recipe that I'm gonna make next. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Cooking with Christina Fogal. Today I'm going to share with you my recipe for sloppy joes. I'm really excited to share this recipe because I have not seen another sloppy joe recipe quite like this one. In fact, this recipe uses a can of condensed tomato soup and Miracle Whip, and the original recipe, which I've tweaked over the years, had more onion in it than meat. So I'm thinking that this recipe, the roots of it, is actually a Depression era recipe. And every once in a while you stumble upon a recipe that someone put together that was just brilliant, and this one is, and I love it. This is the one my family and I make all the time. So to get started, I'm just going to go ahead and chop an onion. That's pretty much all I have to do. It's a really easy recipe. So I'm going to use a white onion, but any kind of onion will work, whatever you have on hand, a red, yellow, it does not matter. I'm going to turn the heat on to medium-high and get my pan nice and hot and add 1 tablespoon of olive oil. The only reason I use olive oil is because I actually prefer ground turkey in this recipe. Ground beef works great, but you don't need to add oil if you're using ground beef. The reason I prefer ground turkey in this recipe is because the meat turns out so soft and tender. It's absolutely wonderful. Once the meat is nice and brown and I've got it broken up, I'm going to go ahead and add the chopped onion, and I'm going to cook this together until the onion is nice and translucent. This takes a couple minutes, but not too long. If you're using ground beef, this is when I would drain the extra fat out. Now the recipe is going to start getting a little bit interesting. I'm adding 3 tablespoons of white sugar, and I just kind of sprinkle it over the top, and then I'm going to go ahead and add 1 tablespoon of chili powder. Also, I'm just kind of sprinkling that a little bit, and then I like to kind of work those spices into the meat before I go on to the next step, just trying to really distribute those nice flavors. I ran out of chili powder once, so I thought I would substitute this jalapeno chili powder, and I only put in a teaspoon of it thinking that would be safe. Turns out this stuff is nuclear hot. It turned out super good, but turned out super nuclear hot. So if you want to up the spice level, this is definitely the spice to use. Now I'm going to go ahead and add 3 tablespoons of vinegar and 3 tablespoons of regular prepared mustard. And also, this is a weird one, 3 tablespoons of specifically Miracle Whip. And then 1 can of condensed tomato soup. This is really a unique spin on a sloppy joe recipe. I've seen the canned tomato soup before, but I have not seen a recipe with Miracle Whip in it. And the Miracle Whip adds such a great tangy flavor right to the sloppy joe mixture itself. And I don't usually use Miracle Whip in anything. I only use it in this recipe, and then I have one other recipe which I absolutely love it in, and it's my fluff salad. So I do have a small thing of Miracle Whip in my refrigerator for these 2 recipes, and I'll put a link on that in the description below. Once I have this stirred together, I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat down to medium-low, and now I'm just going to let it cook and do its thing. Every once in a while I will give it a quick stir just to make sure it's not going to stick to the pan. And this is going to take between 20 minutes and a half hour. And this is after 10 minutes. It's still pretty loose. You can see here it's pretty liquidy yet. So I'm just going to keep stirring it every once in a while and check it again in a few minutes. So this took about 25 minutes for me this time, and I know it's done because when I run a spatula through the middle of the sloppy joe mixture, the 2 sides will stay separated. It is so nice and thick, and that's how I know it's done and it's ready to be served. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you, and don't forget to click to subscribe, ring that bell, and smash that like button. The recipe's on the website. There's a link down below. It's ChristinaFogal.com.